Almost a month after a distribution of cash gifts inside Malacanang hit the headlines, ABC News sources confirmed the money was meant to get the support of congressmen against the new impeached GMA bid. Sherian Torres has that story.
3 more politicians admitted to ABC News that they received a 500,000 peso cash gift from Malacanang last October 11. They refused to be named but detailed what happened in the palace that day. Local chief executives were advised to meet at the Premier Guest House while waiting for the president, who was in a cabinet meeting. The governors numbered more than 40. 189 administration congressmen were there. There were also mayors in another area of the guest house. Before the meeting with the president started, a governor close to Malacanang suddenly stood up and announced to his colleagues that financial assistance will be distributed. But the assistance was not without strings attached. ABC News sources say the governor also appealed to his fellow governors to ask congressmen in their provinces not to support the new impeachment complaint that was filed against President Arroyo. As they left the guest house after a short meeting with the president, a lady approached and advised them to proceed to the adjacent room. Persons were said to be inside. A lady, former Governor Eddie Bong Plaza, who's now with PAGCOR, Lakas Executive Director Ray Roquero, and Interior Undersecretary Oster Panadero. Inside the room were boxes full of paper bags, which later turned out contained the 500,000 peso cash gift. Sources say the 3 officials greeted them as the lady handed them the paper bag. The request to help the president was not repeated. ABC News sources refused to say whether Mrs. Arroyo was still in the guest house as the cash gifts were given out. Panadero reiterated his innocence.
When you say facilitate, ano kaya ito? Kasi hindi naman ako yung... In the first place, I didn't notice this giving thing.
He says, aside from the 2 paper bags carried by Bulacan Governor John Mendoza, he failed to notice if there were other bags inside that room.
Malaki kasi yung kwarto siya. So, dim light pa. Kasi it's a holding area. So, tingin ko may CR din doon. I went to the CR pa nga. So, you wouldn't know how things are happening. Wala naman.
Panadero says he is willing to testify in any congressional investigation. But the question is whether Malacanang would allow him. Sherian Torres, ABC News.
The admission of Deputy Speaker Villarosa that the cash gifts came from the president's party, Campi, has caught the ire of one of the president's top officials. Details from Jove.
Well, I don't know. He's not the ombudsman, but if it were up to the top legal advisor of the president, he would investigate House Deputy Speaker Emerita Villarosa after she revealed that the cash gifts given to some Solons are from Campi. Apostol questioned Villarosa's decision to keep her silence for almost a month and belatedly advised her to shut up if she has nothing good to say.
First, they should actually talk among themselves. Ano ba talaga ang totoo dito? Second, I would advise them to keep quiet, to keep their mouth shut.
Some political observers believe this latest debacle between 2 officials allied with President Arroyo is yet another manifestation of the animosity between Lakas and Campi. The Lady Solon is from Campi, while Apostol is a known Lakas stalwart.
Lakpakan natin si Secretary Puno.
While a new fight within the party is sizzling, the reported rift between DILG Secretary Ronaldo Puno of Campi and Executive Secretary Eduardo Ermita of Lakas seems over. The two showed a united front today to defend the president about the cash gifts issue.
Kung pwede lang, paki-verify yung mga rumors na inaaway ko si ES. Una-una, mas malaki si ES sa akin, ano? We cannot get into a fist fight because I do not relish being beaten up.
For one thing, thank you, Secretary, for coming, just to show them that we are not fighting.
Puno, one of the known ring leaders of Campi, also distanced himself from the cash gifts issue, saying he's hurt with what his party mates did, especially because he was the last to know. And because Villarosa's revelation made it clear that the cash gifts came from Campi and not from Lakas, Puno is apologizing to House Speaker Jose de Venecia for blaming him earlier for the distribution of cash gifts.
I guess I owe Speaker de Venecia an apology because I said before that this came from the office of the Speaker.
Jove Francisco, ABC News.
With actors, bishops, and a former military general backing them up, the opposition stepped up its call for a snap election in 2 months' time. The group wants President Arroyo and Vice President Noli de Castro to resign following a series of scandals, including the handing out of cash gifts inside the palace. The group was quick to point out that pardoned former President Estrada has nothing to do with their move. Malacanang immediately dismissed the renewed calls for President Arroyo's resignation.
Naniniwala kami sa diwa po